Breaking news in the NHL playoffs. William Nylander's on fire, and he's dragging the Toronto Maple Leafs with him into the heart of one of the most intense moments in the franchise's recent history. 6 goals, a magnetic presence on the ice, and the confidence of a veteran who seems to have fought these battles for decades. But he hasn't, and yet he's the one carrying one of the most pressured franchises in sports toward glory. Nylander's performance this postseason ranks among the best in the entire league. He's third in playoff goals scored and has been a constant nightmare for the Florida Panthers defense, a team, it should be noted, that rarely makes life easy for anyone. But it's the way he's doing it that stands out. The calm, the ease, the way he seems to enjoy the most critical moments. And no one captured that better than Leafs head coach Craig Berube himself. In a laid-back interview after their Game 2 win, he lets slip something that says far more than it might seem at first glance. He's just out there playing, and he doesn't want to talk to him. "Leave him alone," Berube said with a half-smile. Then he added, "Nothing gets to him. He doesn't feel pressure. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's how it looks. There's no stage too big for this guy. He thrives on this. He wants it." That's not just a casual remark. It's a diagnosis. A realization that the right player can make all the difference when everything else seems like it's about to collapse. If you love this kind of analysis, the kind that goes beyond the stats and dives into the human and tactical side of the game, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We don't just repeat headlines here. We bring you inside the rink. And every video could be the first chapter of a brand new story. So hit the bell, join the conversation in the comments, and become part of a community that lives hockey the way it's meant to be lived, on the edge of emotion. Now let's take a deep breath and remember the bigger picture. The Toronto Maple Leafs are one of the most storied franchises in the NHL, and also one of the most scrutinized. Since 1967, fans have been waiting for the Stanley Cup to return. Generations have watched heroes fall, promising cores crumble, and brilliant projects unravel silently in the locker room. Nylander joined the team in 2014 as the 8th overall pick in the draft. Since then, he's grown up under heavy expectations, but also with a fair share of doubt. For much of his time in Toronto, he looked like he might just be a complimentary piece on a star-studded roster that includes Austin Matthews, John Tavares, and Mitch Marner. But in the playoffs, everything changes. Time slows down, names fade, and instinct takes over. And that's exactly what's happening now. With the weight of the jersey, the pressure of the city, and the eyes of an entire country on the Leafs, William Nylander is stepping into the spotlight without asking for permission. He's just doing it, playing like it's the last game of his life, with a smile on his face and fire in his eyes. Craig Berube, meanwhile, is a critical piece of this puzzle. He arrived in Toronto just this past offseason, after a respected journey through the NHL that included a Stanley Cup win with the St. Louis Blues in 2019. The mission was clear: take a talented but emotionally fragile team and give it structure. And from the looks of it, his smartest move has been understanding that some players don't need control. They just need freedom. When Berube says Nylander is just playing, he's not minimizing the player's importance. He's elevating it, celebrating what Nylander represents. A player who steps on the ice as if he's in his backyard, who doesn't feel the weight of the moment, and precisely because of that, becomes lethal when the game tightens. In the first 2 games of the series against the Panthers, played in Toronto, the Leafs managed what many didn't expect. They matched the intensity and pushed the opponent. But now the series shifts. Games 3 and 4 will be played in Florida, in front of a loud, hostile crowd that knows how to influence a game. And this is where Nylander's mindset becomes even more valuable. Because when an environment turns hostile, when passes go astray, when the puck refuses to go in, he's the one who seems to smile, breathe deep, and show up to decide the game. And it's worth remembering, despite still playing at a high level, Nylander isn't just showing up on the scoreboard. He's making an impact through space control, puck possession, and vision. In every offensive category, he's been the spark that reignites hope in Toronto. But the big question is, how far can this fire take the Leafs? With elite performance and a unique personality, William Nylander stands at the center of a moment that could forever change the history of this franchise. And more than that, it could redefine how he perceived across the NHL. From perennial promise to undeniable reality, from side character to symbol. And now, I turn the question to you. Is Nylander the right man at the right time in the right place? Or are we simply watching a brilliant phase in a team that still has to prove it can win when it truly matters? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know what you see. And stay tuned, because in our next video, we'll dive into the quiet changes Craig Berube is making behind the scenes with the Maple Leafs. Cultural shifts, leadership adjustments, and behavioral tweaks that, according to internal sources, are already shaking the core of the roster. Red alert in the Maple Leafs crease. Anthony Stolarz will not be in action for Game 3 against the Panthers. And while the team holds a 2-0 lead in the series, a dark cloud is forming over Toronto. Because anyone who follows the NHL closely knows, when a starting goalie goes down, it's not just a player being sidelined. It's the structure of a team that needs to be rebuilt, quickly and under pressure. It happened in Game 1. Panthers forward Sam Bennett broke through the blue line with speed. The puck reached him, the shot came fast and clean, textbook style. But what followed was anything but ordinary. In a fraction of a second, Bennett skated beyond the play and hit Anthony Stolarz square in the head with his elbow. The impact was directly to the back of the neck, and Stolarz, weighing over 220 pounds, simply collapsed on the ice. The arena froze. The Leafs bench fell silent. When a goalie goes down like that, something is very wrong. Stolarz tried to get up. He made his way to the bench with effort. But right there, in front of everyone, before even leaving the ice, he vomited. It was like an alarm going off on live television. Something serious was happening. Minutes later, Stolarz was taken to the hospital. Immediate medical evaluation. But the team released nothing. No word on severity. No information on concussion protocol. Absolute silence. And in the playoffs, silence speaks volumes. The Maple Leafs have a painful history with goalies in critical moments. But this time, the response was different. Joseph Woll stepped in, and the kid didn't flinch. On the contrary. But before we go on, if you're a fan of the NHL, of behind-the-scenes stories, of improbable comebacks, subscribe to the channel now and drop a like. Here, you follow every fall, every rise, every real chapter of the season, as if you were in the locker room. This community grows with people who feel, analyze, and live hockey intensely. So be a part of it. Hit the bell and come along for the ride. Woll replaced Stolarz in the heat of the game. The team was trailing 4-3 when he entered, and with ice in his veins and steady gloves, he held off the Panthers' pressure and sealed the comeback. 5-4. A win that seemed unlikely given the circumstances. In Game 2, he started and shined. He made 25 saves to secure another Leafs victory, this time 4-3. Toronto took a commanding 2-0 lead in the series. But everyone in the locker room knew a giant was still off the ice, and no one knows when or if he'll return. Stolarz's absence from a trip to Florida for Games 3 and 4 is significant. In the playoffs, every detail becomes news. And the fact that the team hasn't confirmed whether he's under NHL concussion protocol only heightens attention. If he is, the road back is long and delicate. It involves 6 stages: medical evaluations, neurological testing, progressive training, and final clearance. It's not a process solved in days. It could cost crucial games, or even the series. Meanwhile, Matt Murray has been designated as the backup, a well-known name, 2-time Stanley Cup champion with the Penguins, but coming off injuries and limited action. For now, his job is to hold the bench. But in the playoffs, the distance between bench and ice is just one play. Behind the scenes, Craig Berube is working to keep the team steady. The head coach, newly hired this offseason, didn't have much time to imprint his style. But so far, his leadership has been effective. The way he handled the game one incident showed control, calm, and trust in his group. Berube's leadership also shows in the subtleties. After Game 2, he spoke about William Nylander, another standout of the series, but it was the way he talked about Stolarz and Woll that revealed a coach built for big moments. No dramatics, no panic. He protected his players and reinforced the team-first mentality. And maybe that's the Leafs' biggest strength right now. For years, the team was a prisoner of its own stars. Now, it seems to find strength in the collective. In the next man up, in the group that still playing at a high level, Pillar Falls represents a short. The hole left by Stolarz is real. Not just because of his technical ability, but because of the moment he was in. Steady, sharp, in sync with the defense. His impact went beyond the stats. And now, with 2 games on the road against a Florida Panthers team hungry to strike back, Toronto must prove it has learned from the ghosts of its past. Game 3 is tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, with Game 4 on Sunday. If necessary, the series returns to Toronto next Wednesday. But one big question continues to echo among fans. Can Joseph Woll hold firm in hostile territory? Or will we see Matt Murray, with all his experience, have to step into the fire once again? And what about Stolarz? Will he return in time? Or was that the last moment of his Stanley Cup run? Comment below. Who would you start in goal if the series gets tight? Woll, Murray, or would you gamble on a miracle return from Stolarz? And get ready. In the next video, we'll take you inside what the Leafs medical staff evaluates to decide if Stolarz is fit to return, and how that could impact not just this series, but the goalie's future in Toronto. Subscribe now, hit the bell, and share this video with that one friend who lives and breathes hockey just like you. Because in the playoffs, the line between heroes and heartbreak is one collision, and the next chapter has already begun.